Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Verified AMA. I'm your host, Lawton Ho, here with Verified Investing, and I go live every single day the markets are open, unless I'm on vacation, from 12:30 to 1:15. Thank you all so much for coming in and watching me every single day. Hope you guys are doing well. So, what's going on, everybody? As always, you can leave your questions down below. Go ahead and scan that QR code down below and ask me anything you want. This isn't ask me anything, so you can literally ask me anything. And I'm gonna do a quick hat switch. So hope you guys don't mind. See if I like this hat. All right, we'll do this quick verified investing education branded hat. Shout out to the wardrobe team for that. But anyways, what's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good day yesterday. Market's been kind of sleepy, kind of making me sleepy, made our live day trading room a little sleepy. Not much happened, but it's okay. It's all good. So how's everybody doing? See these questions. Okay. First question comes from Michael. So Michael's asking, sorry, last one didn't go through. Did CAT hit your swing short level threshold? And what do you think of a Microsoft short here? Great question, Michael. Let's hop right into it. So yeah, my swing short level on Microsoft or Caterpillar, was right here at this double top right here around 418.47. Actually pierced that, continued higher all the way up to around 419, right? And has had a great pullback about, I say great, but it's about 1%, right? So for me, yeah, it has hit the level that I would be considered short. Yes, it has hit my swing short level today. What do I think of a Microsoft short here? Well, Microsoft, I have this beautiful trend line coming from its highs in 2021 through its highs here in 2024, all the way up to here, and it's kind of running into resistance here, right? And for me, the resistance level on this would be somewhere around 515, 516. That's where I would like to short it. Yeah, this is the level that I'd be comfortable shorting Microsoft. Right? You see this huge trend line, and that is where I'd be interested taking a short on Microsoft. What other questions do you guys have for me? Feel free to leave them down below. Scan the QR code and just know that you can visit the verifiedinvesting.com website to ask your questions. Jessica says, hi, Lon, where is resistance on Archer? Good question. Let's take a look. I literally typed that wrong, so sucks for me. So Archer, look at this. Beautiful move. Down sloping trend line, broke out of it. I said it did look bullish whenever I answered this. And I said, if you miss this move up, you can wait for a retrace and then a move higher. For me, there is a clear sign of resistance right here. Around $13.30, there is a gap fill over here. And additionally, around $13.92 is a pivot high. These are the two levels that I'm likely to see resistance on Archer. Additionally, there should be resistance at this additional gap fill right here on $14.85. So for me, these are my levels of resistance on Archer: $13.30, $13.92, and $14.85. And I will say that I am going on vacation. Haven't been on vacation in a while. So I'm going to be on vacation tomorrow on Monday. So as much as I love you guys, as much as I love answering questions, I'll not be answering questions tomorrow or on Monday. I'm going to Actually going to Boston. Going to Maine. If any of you guys out there have any recommendations on some good lobster places or any food or things to do in Maine in general, I'd be happy to take them. I think we're going to go to Acadia National Park, do some hiking. But yeah, excited to have some good lobster. I'm going to have lobster tonight too, I think, because one of my favorite restaurants that was destroyed in the hurricane just reopened. So we can do that. But you don't care about that, do you? You just want to ask me questions. Just perfectly fine. That's what I'm here for. All right. Anyways, next question. Mark says, where's the resistance on semiconductors? Yeah, absolutely incredible move by On, pushing higher. I mean, almost creating kind of a bullish pattern, right? This kind of a sideways consolidation favoring a move to the upside. So where is On likely to find resistance? Right here at this gap fill, around $63, right? And that's approximately $4 higher from its current price, which would be around 5.5-ish%, right? That's the next level that I see resistance on. You saw it crush this gap fill. So this is the next level of resistance. Then you start looking at pivot highs. Let's see if we can find a trend line, huh? On semiconductor. Oh, look at this. Something very interesting to note. This is actually really, really nice. Really pretty. Let me delete this, get rid of this. Let's go a little closer. Okay. Look at this. X marks the spot. There's two levels of resistance that you could have traded on semiconductor here for 1% or more pullback. You got a gap fill here and this beautiful down-sloping trend line from the highs of On semiconductor through this pivot high here down to its current level now. And what do we know, guys? What do we know about On semiconductor? You see it push up. And if there's a trendline break, where do you get in? You enter on a retrace, hoping for a move higher. If you guys took advantage of that, you could have taken about a 2 or 3% gain in a day just playing this downsloping trend line. Absolutely incredible. But anyways, my next resistance on semiconductor, 62.69, 65.17, and 67.01. So, all right. Next question. Mark says, you have to work hard not to get a good lobster roll in Bar Harbor. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go make a stop in Bar Harbor to get a lobster roll. Yeah, I've never been to that area, so it's really excited. Looking forward to do that. Acadia National Park, definitely looking forward to that. In Bar Harbor, we will definitely get some lobster rolls there. Mario says, what is your socks level now? When would you stop adding? Take care. I'm going to add, I think, 2 more times. Right, my next level to add is $6.80. And then my last ad is going to be $6.60. Right. So I have 2 more ads. My last ad was at $7. So my average is around like $7.98-ish. But Chris says, thanks for sharing more about your personal life. Always happy to hear it. I'm actually curious about your professional background and how you got into trading. If you can give a quick summary, I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? This is an AMA. It's a little different from some of our other shows because there's like more of a human aspect, right? Like instead of, I'm talking about charts, we're talking about trades, and that's the main focus, right? We are, in fact, verified investing. But at the end of the day, like it's also a lot about me as a person and talking to you guys as people. So I'm happy to talk about literally anything. But yeah, absolutely. So for me, I grew up in Miami, moved to Hong Kong for high school. I got undergraduate degree in communications from the University of Tampa. Then I got a master's degree in marketing uh, from the University of Tampa. Then I got a couple of certifications, like a digital marketing certification, took some classes at Cornell, all while doing YouTube, right? Doing YouTube on the side with my dad. And then professionally, I've done marketing for things like, for companies like David's Bridal, and a bunch of like some really large car wash franchises. And then I worked here at Verified Investing originally as a digital marketing coordinator. That was what I was doing. And then I kind of started trading because I was listening to these guys and they saw something in me. And they said, hey, like, you seem to be kind of like good at trading. It looks like you have some potential. Let us train you. And they trained me and they turned me into the trader I am today. And now I'm not the best trader here at Verified Investing, but I think I'm a pretty good trader. And it's all thanks to everyone here at Verified Investing for giving me the opportunity. So that's why when I do these kind of AMAs and talk to you guys, I can relate because I'm more newer than the rest of the guys, and I've learned so much from them. In fact, I'll show you how great and how much I really believe in Verified Investing. Like if I'm not, let me share my screen, other screen. I do a lot of day trading, right? Every single day. Of course, you guys know that, but I just want to show you guys my performance, right? In the last 30 days, that's my performance, 100% win rate, 18 trades. If we look at this last quarter, right? I gave 93 trades at a 90% win rate, right? Which is higher than all the other guys, which I'm proud of. Of course, my P&L is significantly lower than Garrett's. Garrett's at 177,000. I'm at 48,000. But that's not just to toot my own horn or not just to qualify myself to give insight into random charts. That's not what I'm doing here. This is to show that, Verified Investing, like their courses and the methodology works, right? If they could turn me, someone with little experience in trading, they could turn me, someone who didn't study who had a different career path, right? Who never thought he would be a stock trader, a pro trader, or have anything to do with stocks. Someone who wasn't familiar with what even a stock was like 5 years ago. If they can turn me into a profitable trader, 90% win rate, with over a large amount of trades given, I can't complain. And this quarter performance is pretty good too. Haven't given the most amount of trades, but we're on track. Happy with this 100% win rate, 9 trades given, 12K in the bank. But that's just a little bit about me. Okay. So that's why when people are like, oh, like, do you like what you do? Do you care about your company? 100%. I care about my company because I think we really do change people's lives, right? It definitely has changed mine. Back to the charts. Pat says, happy Thursday, Pat. Hope you're doing well. Would appreciate your thoughts on Eli Lilly. Sure, let's hop into it. But I hope you guys don't mind me ranting and talking a little bit about how much I believe in this company. Like a lot of people sell courses and say, hey, here's how you can make money quick, or here's what you can do to do this. But I've never seen a company care so much about their customers, right? And try to prioritize the success of their customers as much as us here at Verified Investing, right? So anyways, back to the charts. Let's take a look at Eli Lilly. Let's do it. So Eli Lilly has this down-sloping trend line. Let's take a look a little bit more at Eli Lilly. Okay, earnings in 21 days. This nice down sloping trend line has not broken up from it yet. Let's see if I can find anything else on this chart. Another down sloping trend line there. Had a rough day, about 3% down. Let's see, let's zoom out a little bit. And this is really important to note. When you're looking at trading and trades, it's important to look out to see, are we at the highs of the charts or at the lows of the chart? If you just looked at this small daily, you'd be like, oh, we're towards the middle to lower end. But you zoom out and realize, wow, we've truly gone on a run, up over 1,000% in the last 7 or 8 years. So truly incredible from Eli Lilly. Whenever I look at charts like this, again, I always try and find, I don't like to go in with a bias. I want to see, okay, are there potential parallel channels, anything that I can use to my advantage? And that's what I'm doing right now. Can I see a parallel channel here? Not quite there. Let's see if this yields a better result. Let's pull this back. Not quite. I don't like that quite as much either. We'll try one more. Eli Lilly. See if there's anything that we can get. Kind of, right? That's kind of like a downsloping parallel channel. Had some breaks below it. It's not the best, but we can use it, right? And just to understand that we are kind of in a downtrend, right, with Eli Lilly, and it's actually, that means it's bullish. Excuse me. If you want to go even more specific and go closer in, I mean, Dr. B would love this. He's the wedge master. There's actually a wedge forming on Eli Lilly. Let me clean this up so it's a little more, just like things to be nice and perfect. Okay, so now we have a wedge pattern on Eli Lilly. So how do you play wedge patterns? Okay, and this is what I see on this, and this is also going to be our teachable moment. I think it's so funny every time I do that. But anyways, okay, so how to play a wedge pattern. When you're looking to play a wedge pattern, that means there's kind of some sideways chop and consolidation, and you want to figure out where price is likely to go. And I know I explain this almost every single day, but I think it's so important, and it's something that people don't take proper advantage of. So let's say price continues down here and begins to break. Now you can enter in one of two places on a breakdown. You can either enter as soon as it breaks or wait for price to come back to this trend line and fall more. The reason why is because you know that this level has provided support in the past. And if that support breaks, it favors a move to the downside. Additionally, and this is super important, among trend lines, usually the third hit, you're expecting a bounce, right? Or pullback from that level. So actually, I anticipate Eli Lilly to bounce off of this level and then come down and potentially break it. So on the third hit, I'm expecting a bounce. So again, you can do, there are a couple options here. Let's say it comes down tomorrow and hits this trend line. You can either go long, expecting a bounce. You can short, expecting a break. Or you can wait for a break and re-enter on a retrace to the trend line, right? If you were to go long on the bottom here, you could always look for a move up to the top of this wedge, right? And Dr. B talks about it in lengths in his course, The 1 Minute Scalpel. But that's geared specifically towards day trading. However, the wedge concept still works on the daily, weekly, yearly, hourly, 10-minute, 5-minute, whatever you want. All right. Derek says, take credit, Sir Lawton. Thanks, man. That is phenomenal. I can't spell worth. That's a phenomenal record. And you guys post this since And you guys post this, hence the verified investing logo. Yep. Chris says, wow, that's very interesting and impressive. Thanks so much for sharing. Of course. Thank you for being interested in my life. I'm just a guy. You know what I mean? I'm just a guy here. All right. Chris says sold QS recently, QuantumScape recently, and it's been going straight up. When and where do you see a pullback to? Thank you. Yeah, QuantumScape, this thing is on a tear, isn't it? Well, a couple levels immediately. You have pivot high around 1386. And you know that it has a long way that it can continue going higher because look at all this price action all the way up here. So it still has a lot of levels that it could get to. 1386 would be that first level, that nice high pivot there. Let's continue finding levels. Let's keep looking. So 1387. And actually, what makes me love this 1387 level even more, see there's a pivot here from August 2022. It hit it again. Wow, look how amazing that is. Oh no, I just deleted it. Gosh. Look how perfect that it hit it here, August 2022, and then around a year later in 2023, hit that same trend line or level again and pulled back perfectly off of it. So this is a level of clear and defined resistance for QS, QuantumScape, but it's already tested it. So should it continue to test it, every single time you test the level, the likelihood of you breaking up and above it goes higher. It's never 100%, but it can. It just increases the likelihood. Last two levels for me on QuantumScape. There is a gap fill here at $14.59. And finally, $16.51, an additional gap fill. So you have two more gap fills around there. Okay. So this huge level, 1386 on QS, should provide some resistance. 1459 as well, and then $16.51. All right. Next question. Ludo says, just out of curiosity, I know you guys all trade with the $1 million account, but do you trade with your own money on the side? Yes, absolutely. Let's see what else we got. Nathan says, do you still see Bitcoin going down significantly? Been a while now since its topping tail and it's still hanging around on 118. What downside do you see and when? So I'll let you in on a secret. I'm currently shorting Bitcoin. I think it will come down. What you want to see is continued after this down move, continued sideways consolidation, and then a move lower, right? So this is what I'm looking for. Down move, sideways consolidation, and down move, right? If I knew when it would fall, I would tell you, but I'm currently shorting it. And I would like to see it come down to 107 within the next week or so, right? About 8 or 9% lower, right? So I just want to see some downside, sideways consolidation. Just know that if this was a 1 minute topping tail, yeah, you expect it to move quickly. But because it's on the daily topping tail, you have to give it time to play out. It's not always going to play right away. Stella says, hey, Lawton, what's up? Stella, how's it going? Can you please go over Rigetti for a swing trade? Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So Rigetti actually just hit a good level to short today around 1711. That was actually the high of today, right? But because that level already hit, my next level to short Rigetti is $18.39. You see right here, I have an alert, this little clock over here. $18.39 is a beautiful gap fill. That's where I plan to short Rigetti. And I would likely add a double top. I would go a smaller position, right? Just because, listen, Rigetti's risky. It's a company that moves a lot, right? So I'm going to go a little lighter at this gap fill. If it comes down, fills me great. I can make, 10, 15% sure. But if I have to add 16% higher, I will, right? And that's something that Rigetti can move in a day. So just know. All these kind of quantum stocks are like QS and stuff are kind of running. So it just takes a little pop and it could easily collapse. Next question is MD says, "Hi Lon, what's up, MD? What's the Roblox the swing trade level?" Well, on my chart, I had 111.77 as a potential gap fill. Yeah. But for me on Roblox, let's take a look. Let's go a little deeper to Roblox. 141.65. It looks like it's heading up there. That is, it's about still 16, 17% higher, but that is the double top, the all-time highs of Roblox. That looks like the level that it wants to pull back from. I mean, there's a couple other pivot highs that you could consider, right? Like 126. There's up here. It's just kind of difficult, right? 130. Here's what I would do. If I was looking at Roblox, I would look to enter around $130 and add every $10, right? That's what I would do, right? In Roblox. If I had to trade it, if you forced me to swing trade it, $130 and $141 on my two levels of resistance. Martin says, "Hey Lon, what's up, Martin? Happy to see you. Glad to have you. If you're familiar with Drew Dosick Sleeper Hold, what do you think about VZ?" Okay. Ooh, look at that. Look at this. Wow, look at that on Verizon. It's going to get a bounce. This level is so good on Verizon. This is on the 1 minute, or this is on the daily chart. Wow, I love this for a swing. It's going to be a third hit, so I'm expecting a bounce. I'm even going to set an alert. So if it hits it, I will actually go long, potentially for a day trade. We'll see. But the key thing to note is I would be wary of entering this for a swing trade. And I'll tell you why. You see this over here? Earnings are in 4 days. Verizon earnings are in 4 days. I'm not interested in holding anything into earnings. And this is actually a good time for a new segment called the Risk Radar. So I'm not sure if I use that properly, but we're talking about risk. So we're going to use the Risk Radar. Okay. So when you hold a stock into earnings, right, even if you're favoring an upside or a downside move, even if the chart is telling you one thing, ultimately it's going to move based on the performance of the company. Okay, based off the performance of the company. When you're day trading or swing trading some good levels, you might, and you're all you're doing is playing probabilities. Let's say you have a 70-30% chance of it going in your favor. Amazing. For a swing trade. If it starts going against you, you can always dollar cost average. You can stop out and get some good levels, right? And you can see it coming. You can plan ahead, find some levels. But on earnings, all of that goes out the window. Even if you are favored to win, right? It's because it's earnings, that 70-30 might only be 55-45, right? 55-45. And the difference between swing trading, something that's just at a good level, and things in earnings is that your win and loss is so drastically like risk on, right? If you're wrong about earnings, you could be down 20% in a day, 20% on that whole position in a day, right? And because it fell on poor earnings, it might mean that there's bad news. So it might continue coming down and being like, okay, this is bad. The results are really bad. So we're going to continue going down, right? For example, CNC, I think. Yeah, look at this company, CNC. If you looked at this chart, you could have been like, wow, look at this. It's pretty far down from the highs, right? It's down 44% from the highs. This is bullish. It favors a move to the upside. Let's see if I can find any other indicators that would say it's bullish, right? Whatever. You could say, oh, it looks bullish. And then what happens? If you went long into this because it looked good into earnings, you would have woken up the next day down 34%. And you would have added to your position trying to fight back, thinking it's going to go higher. It's going to go higher, right? We're going to get a bounce, right? We're going to get a bounce, right? Right? No. It's down 22% more from where it opened up. And that's why if you go long or short into earnings, it's literally gambling. You'd have not better odds, but you'd have similar odds at the roulette table. And but that's what I think about Verizon. I'll go long for a swing trade here. I kind of went off into a tangent. Sorry about that, guys. Louis saying, Lawton, thanks for doing this. Of course, you're welcome. Good to hear you grew up in Miami. I've lived in South Florida for many years, picked up CLX at 125. When would you exit? Yeah. I do like Miami. I'm from Miami, was there until I was 16 years old. So CLX, let's take a look at CLX. 125, look at this. These are my levels for Clorox. This is my long level, 124. My first take profit is 129. 129, and my second take profit level is at 132. This was already charted out. So I don't know if you had asked this previously, but these are my levels on CLX. One thing to note, and I just went off a tangent talking about how risky earnings are. This does have earnings in 2 weeks. So I would say get out before earnings, right? But the thing is, look at the chart. Look how far beaten down. It favors a move to the upside. It looks like it should bounce off of earnings. But does it have to? No, I just showed you. So get out of this before earnings. Take some money in your pocket. Live to fight another day. But yeah, my exits on this, $129.64 and around $132. Okay. MDC, thanks, man. You're welcome. Amit says, hi, Lon. Do you have any stock ideas for swing trades? That's very general. I think Microsoft should pull back. I would short it if it came up here to 515. Up here to around $515, I would short Microsoft. There is one of my ideas, not financial advice, just something going on in my brain. Derek says, good day, Lon. What's up, Derek? Your take on URA. Absolutely. Let's take a look at URA. Yeah, uranium is going absolutely nutty, going absolutely crazy, but is still far from its highs up here. Let's take a look at the uranium chart itself, right? Because it's going to move based off of uranium. That's what we kind of got to kind of look at. So for uranium, for me, I find I'm looking and I see potential resistance at this trend line. Let's go back to URA. I like this more. Let's see if I can find some levels that I anticipate a pullback on URA. So there was a level here that it just did pass, right? So we got to readjust, recalibrate, see if we can find more. And one thing that you need to be careful of, and sometimes that I need to be careful of, are finding trend lines that that fit your narrative. Or you can draw a line from anywhere to anywhere else, right? If you're trying to force it, right? But as you can see here, I have this nice trend line. It's connected through, I believe it should be able to be connected through this gap fill. Pretty much, right? Kind of. But anyways, you have this trend line that could, doesn't have to, right? But could provide some sort of resistance for uranium should it get back up there and hit that level. Additionally, you should have more resistance. Have some gap fills over here. Let's see. Let's take a look. Gonna just go all the way back here. Okay. Good thing and this is why we love stocks with a lot of good price data. Beautiful high pivot here that I would look for resistance around $46, excuse me. Additionally, you could consider a short level around here, around this 42.50 level on uranium. If it goes much higher, you could enter a position around $46.50. But for me, these are the levels of resistance on uranium. Okay, MD says, what about Alphabet next target? And okay, I see some questions here. And I'm going to take a breath because we're about to run into our rapid fire round where I try and get through the rest of your questions, even though we only have 8 minutes left. Okay. Are you guys ready? I'm ready. Let's do this. All right, rapid fire time. All right, let's take a look at Google. So Google is the next target for Alphabet. Google, for me, I'm targeting, pardon me, I like this level here for potential target. You have a nice gap fill around 191 and an additional one here. These are some of my levels for Google. Now, just know that Google has earnings in 6 days, and I've talked 6 days. I've talked in length today about earnings, but let's take a look at earnings. How much does Google typically move on earnings? 3.5% there. This drop was around 7%, and this move higher was around 7%. So we're anticipating when Google moves, it's going to move around 6% from its current level. Now, this 2% might be a little closer, but this gap fill is right in that range, around 5%. So should Google have a good earnings and pop up that just under $200 level, this 192 level, could provide some resistance on Google. For Advanced Auto Parts, right? So what does this look like? Advanced Auto Parts hit this gap fill and is now kind of bull flagging along it. This is bullish. This is bullish consolidation. You're seeing a move up and then kind of sideways action, right? Some sideways action favoring a move up, favoring a move higher. For me on Advanced Auto Parts, if I was long this and had to find a place to take profits, I'd likely look for around this level here at this nice gap fill. You can tell that I love gaps. $67.42 would be my upside target for Advanced Auto Parts, approximately 10% higher if I'm doing this math correctly. Yep, almost exactly 10% higher. Mark saying, do you think RCL will ever pull back? Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. Yeah, this thing is an absolute beast, an absolute monster. Put in a beautiful topping tail yesterday, but has almost all but negated that. Do I think it'll ever pull back? Eventually, right? But this is not something that I've traded before, not something that I would likely like to trade. But again, I'll trade anything with the chart. So who's to say? This happens once a session. Sorry about that. Looking here, let's see here. Yeah, it's hard to say, right, on this RCL when it's going to pull back. I mean, you did have this topping tail. I just want to see a more of a pattern form. You're likely though looking for an overall pullback in the rest of the markets, right? This is a tough short. I'm going to be honest. I mean, for now at least, you're looking for this. You have kind of like an upsloping trend line you're starting to form, and the more you consolidate around this, you could favor a rollover, favor a move down, right? That's kind of what I'm manifesting for you guys. Derek says, next earnings, we're going to Vegas. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to have like a verified investing, we'll have a meetup in Vegas or something. That would be cool. I mean, that's what we're doing in stock trading anyways, right? It's almost professional gambling, but we have an edge. Oh, man, Chris says, I got an Lulu earnings, last earnings for everybody get on time. You see a bounce anytime soon? Yeah, sorry about that. That's really rough. Did have this beautiful bottoming tail in Lulu, right? And did bounce off of that. So that was your opportunity to potentially get out. But what you do have on Lulu and Lulu, I'm bullish on Lulu. You have this down sloping trend line that it's starting to break up and out of. If you can close above and continue higher, I'd likely target around the 270. Now, how far is this going to come? I don't know if it can get up to the 290s, but 270 certainly does seem feasible. This might be something where you just wait until the next earnings, right? And this time it's even lower. The expectations are even lower for Lululemon earnings, so it should take less to have the price see a bump. But I'm sorry to hear that, Chris. Hassan saying, what about Baba stock? Yes, Alibaba, the Chinese stock, doing pretty well. Is it good for a swing trade? And what do you think about the support level? Yeah, I think we're in the office. We're generally fairly bullish on these Chinese stocks, and they are here some charts. I can't even talk. Some trend lines. This is a beautiful downsloping trend line that should we get above on Baba, I expect to get a bounce. Now, again, how do we play trend lines? You can either enter on a break to the upside on this right around here, or what do we say? We wait for a retrace and look for a move higher. As far as support, I know you're asking for support on this. Should it come down lower? For me, I'd be interested, on this level, this 113 level. There's this previous gap fill. It was the low on Tuesday. That could provide a bounce. You had a previous gap fill here that it just absolutely crushed past 110. And again, of course, here at this beautiful gap fill around 108.20. But those are the levels that I believe Alibaba could get a bounce, but in general, I'm pretty bullish on the Chinese stocks as a whole. If you take a look at the Hang Seng Index, right, and this kind of tracks the performance of the Chinese stock market, right? We're still quite a ways down from its highs, right, in 2018, about 26, 27% from its highs, despite the fact that the S&P are at all-time highs. Okay, last question, I think. Amit says, Palladium seems to be doing well. Absolutely. Do you think it's a good time to get in? I had this level as resistance on Palladium, and it just absolutely shattered it. I would not get in now, right? Personally, I don't trade commodities too much, to be honest, right? But it's a chart, so I can tell you what I think. That level was supposed to be resistance. But my next level of real resistance is likely up here around 12% or 12% higher, around 14.27. Okay, around 1427, I expect a pullback on palladium. I would not enter now. I mean, at this point, you're chasing, right? Like, look at this thing. Since the April 7th lows, it's up 44%. Even since for the past month, not even month, for the past like 7 days, it's up 18%, right? If you really had to get in, you could get in and just put a stop level here, stop out at 1230, right? If you really want to chase, but I'm not a fan of chasing. But anyways, guys, okay, that's about it for me. Again, it's 1:15. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. As always, I go live every single day from 12:30 to 1:15, but not tomorrow and not on Monday because I'm going on vacation to Maine. If you guys have any questions, though, you can always shoot me a DM on Twitter right here. My Twitter handle is @LawtonInvesting. Again, this is @Lawton Investing. You can give me a follow, send me a DM. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have if you want a little bit more. As always, please like, follow, subscribe. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a good one. Take it easy, guys. Bye, Martin. Bye, Derek. Bye, everybody.